Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you are doing well this week. It's time for us to get to this week's color palette challenge. We are in Cube 1 of the Color Cube system by Sarah Renee Clark. We have already done 2 other palettes, so this is going to be the 3rd out of 5 for Color Cube 1. Let me go in here, grabbing a few, but let me see if I can get one of these. All right, that's the one I got. It's palette 83. Let's see those colors a little bit better. Nice tropical scene there. So we have hunter green, apple green, apricot, clay, and steel blue. That's the palette we're going to be working with this week. Let me go and see if I can find some paints or products, something fun within these colors, and we can get started and go from there. For better or worse, we're going to look at doing this palette here of 083. We're trying for hunter green, apricot, clay, steel blue. As you can see, I've gone and tried to get a whole bunch of things, put a layer on, see if I'm going to be able to mix some of these. I want to use a heavy body for the most part, but I do have some of these regular matte acrylic paints from Blick and Yvette Saint Amand. Got some white gesso here because I think I want to put a white gesso layer down first. I am actually seeing a loosey-goosey kind of impressionist green foliage with some blue flowers, maybe some light yellows coming out. We're going to be using a silicone wedge, this one by Catalyst, large brushes, either flat, round, mop. Basically, I'm going to grab whatever is within reach. I want to keep loose, and it may mean using some sponge. It may mean using my fingers, which means I should have probably grabbed some gloves or something already. First, gesso with a little bit of golden honey. And we're going to see how we're doing here. I've taped off this edge here, and I'm just going to start trying to get some of this down, just so that I have a background. I'm going to spray some water on it, see if we can get it to spread itself out a little bit more. So I'm just trying to get this down with a little bit of gesso mixed in, sort of like, it's already priming if this was a canvas. And this is just going to be the background because I'm really not going to go crazy with making this perfect. And it allows it to have some darker spots in some places, and that's fine. You don't ever see an even walkway when you're walking in a beach garden or at one of the botanical gardens in the area. Sometimes it's just all different shades of the browns and the whites. This is going to just be sort of makeshift background. Still got a little bit left here. I mixed some of these things up earlier, just before turning this on to start videotaping, just so that I could have sort of an idea of what I'm working with. Got the protective paper towels underneath everything again. Take some of that off the page. That's not all having to go in the same direction. And this should be also helping it dry out a little bit. So we've got that base of clay. This is going to be my version of the clay. And now we're just almost dry brushing. All right, we're going to leave that there. So the next would be the green. I want to start out with darker green, and I'm going to, this is Your Trek. It's their Viridian hue, more of their deeper green. And I'm going to put a little bit out here. All right, let's go ahead and shut that or gesso down. All right, Catalyst. Let's see how this can help me. It may not be completely dry. That's okay. It's a dark green. It'll just make it maybe darker. Who knows? Let's find out. So I'm just I'm gonna lay it down and I'm just going back and forth, seeing what shapes are going to drop. So this is sort of going to be like a leafy scene. And I don't have to have it covering the whole place. And just moving it around, seeing what I can get to come out. I like it because I sort of see leaves. And that's basically what this is going to be, is sort of like the foliage. Then I've already sort of started mixing up a lighter green with yellow and some of a reddish tone. I know I have such a loud table, but you know, at least I got a table. When in doubt, you can always use your hands. Usually I would do something like this more on a canvas. All right, what I'm doing is I'm cleaning what I had going over here on a palette of some of this green that I've been mixing already. And now it's going to have a little bit of the yellow in it. And I'm just going to be okay with it. And that can lead us to taking in some of this lighter green in total versus having it mixed, trying to get a little bit of that brown. We're already starting to have some of that drop in. Now remember, the good thing about using a catalyst is just wash it off. We're getting a lot of that green in there. Let's see if I can get some more up here. And I'm not cleaning it off in between, letting it put itself down here, you know, where I want to drop it, because I want to start trying to put some of the lighter colors and then some of the blue coming on here. I don't like how this is just sitting there. Still got a little bit of the clay coming out from underneath. I want to do a little bit of that green mixed with yellow. So we're going to have to mix a little bit here. We'll see if the mixing gods are going to be nice to me. Let's see how they do here. I get a little bit more of a vibrant, lighter green to start putting in here. So now let's see. What happens if I put it on my hands? That's what we're going to do. I just put a little bit on my fingers, bring a little bit of this lighter color out so that it's not completely blocking out the dark green, but it is allowing some of it to come through. And I'm getting the texture from the gloves on there. Do a little bit of rubbing from here and to get down there. All right, so a little bit of that green foliage going on here. Let's see, definitely green, but more of that yellow. I like how it had a little bit more of that yellow in there. So let's see if I can get some of the more yellow part to come out and play here. All right, so we got a little bit of that green going. Keep the greens available, but I want to start trying to maybe bring in some of the blue, but I also am thinking I want to bring in a little bit of this light orange, maybe mixed down with white. I mixed this other color that wasn't coming out really as nicely as I wanted it to, but it's sitting over here all lonely. It was supposed to be a little bit of that clay, but it didn't work out. I'm using it because I don't like paint to go to waste. So maybe it's just the first layer. Maybe we got some roses going on in here. Okay. So basically, it's just my fingers laying some down, and then I'm just basically tapping them with a drier hand with my fingers. Have fun with it. Get that off the side. It's not everywhere. It's spread out. There's more clusters in some places than others. And I'm going to just come in here, spread that a little bit, dab it a little bit more so it's not solid, because I'm really not ready to have like solid splotches everywhere. And I'm using my nail through the glove, putting down a little marking. So gonna let this rest a little bit and we'll come back and start putting on the next one. Well, now I want to try and bring in some of the blue to come off of there. I did a mix in here, wisteria blue, and then got a little bit of heavy body Payne's gray. Mixed it together, got a little scared, but it is, in some ways, matching up. You ready? And we're just gonna make some clusters. This is actually a mop brush, 1/2 inch. Probably not what it's supposed to be used for. This is trying to let my expectations go. So I'm really just not even I'm just using it to dab. Okay. And we're going to start adding in some of that wisteria blue more so into this. And let's see what we start to get. Just a little bit here, as you don't have to put it everywhere. To me, that's a cornflower blue. What color did they want it to be? They were looking for steel blue. Well, I guess so. Okay, let's see what happens now if we add more of the wisteria blue in on this mixture. Slowly adding it in, we hope. Put it up here. Some of that lightness up into here. Okay. I do like this wisteria blue. It's one of my faves. And since this is being done more so now it's spring, always nice to see it. This nice color of spring. Things are lightening up. Now I'm sort of like what I guess I would say dancing the paintbrush. Trying to see what it can bring out. You could do this with this kind of a brush, and any kind of brush. Could still be using my fingers if I wanted to. And we got a nice conglomerate of it here, subtle and dark there. All right, let's do just a little bit more, maybe just some little areas where now if the other shades are drying underneath the darker blue. Let's see what happens when we put this lighter accents over it. To me, what was coming to mind, one of my favorite flowers, hydrangeas. I guess it's coming up because that was my mom's favorite. We had them when we were still up north, New England. And even when we came down to Florida, she valiantly tried to keep having hydrangeas. Wherever she had a house, we always tried to have hydrangeas. I'm going to leave that green in there so that we have a little bit of greenery. Do we want to try something else? You know what? Let's do a glaze. Spray some water in there. And now I'm sort of using the side of it. I'm interested to see what I can start trying to get a little bit of roundness of, petals. So it's still coming through. It's not too heavy. This is sort of like, walking down that path. And all the green coming through and some of the flowers coming through. It's going to be time to start trying to bring in some lighter blue. I'm going to try and see what this is yellow ochre. Let me see something first before I lay down some light orange yellow. This is apricot. Looks beige to me. I want to put some of that yellow in with some of the more brighter blue and see if we can liven this baby up. But first, I'm curious about seeing what this is. I mixed yellow ochre and then I put in titanium white, mixed it around. It is coming a little bit maybe of a darker of what they're calling apricot clay, a little bit in between. I'm going to put it down and then I'm going to do that yellow orange light. So let's just go ahead. And see what we get out here. Just laying down marks. This is a Princeton 14 long handle. See what I want to get down here. But it's sort of going with what I did on that background. A little bit more orangey tone to it. But may not be getting the flower shapes that I was thinking I was going to get today. That sort of looks like a rose. You don't have to stand in one place. You can move around. So we got one there, one there. Just taking the yellow and putting it in the middle. Sort of looking like a flower here. Could also just be a mess. But is this the last layer? I just get going and thinking, well, I could try this. You know, there's a saying that I'm sure a lot of you have heard. Curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought her back. I wasn't raised knowing about that other part. Did you know about that other part? That satisfaction brought the cat back? I didn't. I got taught that by a patient of mine about 2 decades ago. She told me that. And I said, wait a minute. I've never known that it had a second part. She said her mother finally told her the second part of it when she got to be in about her 30s, when she had her own kids and her kids were growing up. And she said to her mom, what do you mean? You've known that all along. Curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought her back. And so I said, well, why don't they ever tell us the second part? And she said she had asked her mother the same exact thing. And her mother confessed, if you knew that satisfaction brought the cat back, then you would go do what we were telling you not to do. And I was like, well, yeah, does have a point there, doesn't she? So that's the reason why we don't always get told curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought her back. Did you know about the second part of that? Did you know that satisfaction brought the cat back? Let me know. You can always tell me in the comments. Did you know curiosity may kill the cat, but satisfaction will bring it back? There we go. Now I'm down to an 8 round. I'm going to bring a little bit of that blue back in, I think, next is what's going to happen. I did not clip it down, so you're going to see this start to bounce a little bit because I got a lot of paint on here. I like that color combination a little bit. Trying a little bit of a different flower up here. Who says that you have to have all the same flowers in the garden, huh? Who says that? Nobody. A little bit more of a definite flower shape on that one. And figure out where I want to go with that one. Being dabbed down here. I like little snowballs of flower. Sure looking pretty on that yellow. I'm looking up above. I've actually started to not really paint sitting down anymore. Interesting. Don't go overboard. Just let it rest. I won't have to go overboard with the pink. It's that trying to stop yourself. I know it work. Just gonna bring it back in just a little bit. Well, maybe down here just a little bit of a pink flower that came down here. Or an image of one. A little bit of it going in there. Nope, that's going to be on that blue. Step away from the flower, Linda. All right, I'm going to do some blue. Time for the blue. All right, let's put the blue down first. Let's not have a gallon of it on my paintbrush. Sticking with this is what, a 6 round? Yep, 6 round. And in my garden, we have a little bit of a reversal. Instead of the blue having the yellow in it, we're having the yellow with the blue in it. Because it's my garden. And I have something in mind for this too. So just trying to bring in a little bit more of the blue now that I've laid down that yellow. Got something in mind. So we got a little bit of that yellow with the rosy clay, some more of the rosy clay down here versus the yellow. I can go back in and put a little bit more yellow on there, see what happens. And then this is going to be my problem child. And now this garden is blues and yellows and dusty rose, just coming out from the greenery. It's got a little bit of the yellow mixed into it because I went into the wrong one. Can we make it a happy accident? She's about to find out. Yes, she did. She tried to make a happy accident out of it. Still got a little bit of the leaf going on there. It's supposed to be going down here into blue. I think we're going to leave the blue alone. I'm going to leave the blue alone. Come back in here for a little bit. Just very delicately putting a little bit yellow on top. Not going crazy. Okay. Same down here. All just looks like one blob of flower here. Guess that's going to be the center. Now, it's not liking how all one layer here. Being quiet on you. See if I keep it in or not. Take this and look at it. I'm just thinking, do I want to throw some white in there? Just to liven it up. Pinpoint white, not going crazy white. Just little drops of white. Can I just put in a little bit of white and not go crazy? Let's see. This is a dry brush. I did not wet it. Let's just see. That's sort of what it needed. Remember, it's just impressions. It can be textured, it can be heavy, heavier print if I want to. But let's just see if I can control myself right now and not go into such a big drop of white. Let's see if I can do it. So this little bit up here, there's very blue up here. That's what you want them to be in your mind, flowers. Of course, I got a lot up there. Need to come and do a little bit of it around. Okay, where do I want to put it? I'm doing it with the blue. Maybe this is a lot of the hydrangea. So, you know, they do have sort of like, they have almost heart-shaped kind of petals. But what does that look like from far away? Do you really see the shape? Or could this just be a flower that I'm thinking of called a snowball? Maybe that's what I thought of it as a kid, and my mom never bothered to correct me. She had flowers to grow, things to do. She didn't need to be worried about if I had the correct flower name or not. Half the time, I could help in the garden, but there were sections that were her garden. And my dad did the roses. He had his own dental practice, and that was the way he calmed himself down, was he grew roses. My mom would help there, but those were his baby. We actually sometimes had to help too. My job was he would dig basically a moat around the rose, and then had to water it for a long time, but you had to keep sort of moving the hose so that one place would not get massively overwatered. And my job was to make sure when it got to a certain level of saturation that I would move it. And so that was my job. He didn't trust me with anything else. I assured him that I could surely build a moat around the base of the rose bush. He wasn't having it. Nope, but here, hold the hose. And since I'm basically looking like I'm keeping these in this direction, sort of make them go out like that. And I'm trying to look up here. This would have to be really faint in here. Almost coming in for a landing. Just trying to lift some of that up. It is very dark. Hurt to put a little bit of the white on it. Break it up just a little bit. I think I want to come with a light green. Nope. All right. Just so that I can bring a little bit of that flower back in there. So I grabbed the cadmium green, mixing it in with what's left of the white on here. A nice light green, delicately come through. Some leaves there. That's a little bit better. That makes me feel a little bit better. Stem goes all the way down. It's got to come up from somewhere now. Maybe it is. Who knows? This one going off that way. So let's just bring it. Do a little bit more out here. There. Huh. Well, that just made me go, huh. Well, let's just see. The two green. Here's my white. Come on, mix up. Mix up to the same color again. I like it when I can replicate it. Some of that darker green is in there. See? And we got some of that apple green. Then I went and made a little bit of a mint green. It's not full apricot, but apricot has more yellow and orangey yellow in it. And we've got the steel blue. I think I hit that steel blue in various shades. So we got some of that going on. Let me put that other places where it might be logical without going crazy. We're just going to let that come up, and it's sort of in the river to that flower up there, sort of over here. And a little bit of green on there. Nope, because it doesn't have to be through the whole painting. Okay? I'm talking myself off the ledge. All right. So this way they've got the yellow, the whites, the blues. This is more definitely, we're allowing that to be whites, yellows, the clay, a little bit of green. All right, we're gonna go with it. Okay, I lied. I'm back. I'm using some oil pastels, and it's in this more verdant green. Doesn't give you exactly the color, just the number. Maybe it does. Yep, it's cinnabar green yellow. Okay, and so I've just put little dots in here. I felt bad. I was in here doing this, going, probably should be putting this on tape. So I'm just basically going through, doing some of the dabbing. And because I'm using the oil pastel, gives it a little bit different texture to everything versus the paintbrush, just to try and bring some of that green back out so we're not all floating in floral space. Just a different kind of color of the green. You always use your fingers to smush this down too. My technical terms, smush. Still has that impression of leaves going on here. A little bit more up in here. Some of that green. Get it all over my hands. It'll wash off. And I was trying to decide if I wanted to do gold. Oops. Gotta put your toys away the way that you found them. Those are Sennelier oil pastels. They will go back the way I found them. Packed very nicely. All right. What would I be without some iridescent gold? So we're just gonna start with, let's take some out. I'm using a very small round brush, a 1. I'm trying to keep myself from going crazy here. If anybody has seen some of my paintings, this is what I did with peonies. Painting, I didn't use gold paint though. I used some gold piping called Cern Relief. I piped little center dots on everything. Just trying to do a little bit of touch of gold. What would my life be without having some gold in my paint? Might be a little too small of a point here. I've done a lot of work on this painting. Nope, I don't want to put it up here. It's not doing what I wanted it to do. It'll come where you can see it underneath some of the light. If I change the lighting around, you'll be able to see it. Let's see if I can get this part here. Okay, I'm going to turn it just a little bit more. And then I gotta call it for the day because on my way over here, I'm cleaning some things in the sink. I had my kitty cat come up and meow at me, and she's not one that meows. So that usually means she's saying, enough is enough, lady. I need to be fed. I've got my marching orders. Yep, well, that's her. I don't know if you can hear her in the background, but she's definitely saying, enough is enough, lady. There. Hey, you know, they could be daisies. Could have some daisies poking through on some of these flowers. Welcome to my crazy garden. That's all I got to say. There you go. Put a little bit up there. And I think I see some right up here that I want to do. Just a little, you know, little like, what color is that she just put in there? All right. Let's go ahead, take this out. I hope you've enjoyed playing with me today. Let's bring this down. Still a little wet, but I'm going to go ahead and take this little protection off. So let's see. There we go. All right. You can see a little bit of the gold that I put in there. Just a nice little floral garden for the springtime. And I think we did pretty good. So palette 083 from Color Cube 1 of Sarah Renae Clark's Color Cube system. Hunter green, apple green, apricot, clay, steel blue. I did a garden impressionistic scene. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe, like the video, and comment. Is this your kind of style, or do you like things more realistic versus abstract, impressionistic? Let me know in the comments what you thought. Until then, have a nice day and see you next time.